Welcome to 10X Live, the show where we're revolutionizing business, one strategy at a time. At 10X Solutions, we have a bold vision to democratize business excellence. We believe every organization deserves the tools to thrive. Our secret sauce, the perfect blend of cutting-edge AI, the proven power of organizational health, and growth management. We assembled genius teams equipped with advanced analytics to supercharge decision-making and skyrocket efficiency. From AI-augmented strategy sessions that spark creativity to precise planning powered by human ingenuity, we're your catalyst for sustainable growth. We keep it real, we keep it honest, and we keep you ahead of the curve. Join us for the 10X revolution. We're not just adapting to change, we're leading it. Let's map out a future where your business doesn't just survive, it thrives. This is 10X Live. Let's transform business together.
Well, hello. We are back. We are back with another episode of 10X Live. I am excited this week. Not that Kyle's not here. I'm not excited about that. But I am excited to have you here, Denise.
Thank you.
Denise is a journey mentor and executive coach, and as you can see, enthusiastic encourager. So we don't always talk about six working geniuses here. I guess it's not all we talk about, but we do always talk about it. Denise is also a galvanizer and encourager, which is the same as Kyle, which is I think is pretty funny. So if anybody has been watching the show, you filled in for me when I was on vacation a few weeks ago, and that was my favorite episode. Truly.
Glad to hear it.
It was, I mean, I watched it. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I learned. I was challenged. It was great. So really excited to have you back, Denise.
Good. Thank you. It's an honor.
Yeah. And I am Jay Scott. I'm founding manager of 10X Solutions. This is our little side project we have, 10X Live, where we get to hang out and talk about the things that we do and how we're going to change the world. And, I'm a dreamer. It says creative dreamer, and it's true. I've always been a dreamer. Maybe even a delusional dreamer, right? I might dream too big, and I think that's okay. So my goal is to change the world. And the niche I found, so to speak, is to democratize business excellence. And so with AI on the scene, with information readily accessible out there, and a lot of people with the knowledge, skill set, and heart to make these changes, coupled with AI, there's no reason why we can't make business excellence available to all small businesses. Right. And so that's the mission. That's everything that we do here is to drive that mission forward. So we're excited to be here. Right. So journey mentoring.
Yeah.
What is journey mentoring? I'm very curious about that.
Oh, thanks. So Journey Mentoring is actually the program that I started a little over a year ago. It's what we're doing is we're growing leaders who change their world. We believe that we are all on a journey and everybody needs a mentor. You need a mentor when you're in kindergarten. You need a mentor when you're in high school, whether you believe it or not, right? You need a mentor when
you don't know it all in high school yet?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you need a mentor when you're in college, and you need a mentor when you get out there into the big world. And you definitely need a mentor as a small business owner. So my background, I've done a lot of economic development and Chamber of Commerce work. So I have a really deep desire and love for helping small to mid-sized businesses because I believe that is the future of our country. And so supporting them is something that I enjoy doing in those arenas. And then when I started Journey Mentoring, I realized, wow, I actually get to do this more on a day-to-day basis, making a difference for each of them individually instead of as a group. So I have an executive coaching program that we run under Journey Mentoring.
Very cool. So how long have you been doing the Journey Mentoring?
A little over a year.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and that's, I love that. I love that concept. I love the idea because it's true. Everybody needs a mentor. Mm-hmm. the idea of somebody who's been there before, who can help you avoid a lot of pitfalls,
Yeah.
help you see outside of your blind spots,
That's right.
see through the
That's
blind
right.
spots, and
Yeah. One of the things,
just to be an encourager,
it's true.
and somebody who could say, you could do this, you got this, and
Yeah.
being all of
Yeah.
those things. It's
And really, very few of us actually have someone who is willing to hold space for us to unpack what we're dreaming of, what's holding us back, what's keeping us stuck. And so that's one of the things that we provide. And then we also want to help you figure out, what does it look like for you to take 100% ownership of what you want to do with your life? Like, you can.
right.
You were saying earlier that you felt like maybe your idea was too big, or some of your ideas might be too big. And I was reminded of, I don't know if anybody saw that movie recently with Cabrini. She was she was under the Catholic diocese over in Italy, and found out that there were so many orphan children in America that just weren't getting good care. And so, back when it wasn't popular for a woman to appeal for a leadership position, she went actually all the way to the Pope, and he was like, I don't know that you can do this." And she said, "The world's too small for what I intend to do." So,
I love that.
RJ, you're in good company.
Yeah. Well, I think you have to be, right. It can be trite when you hear the same thing over and over again. But the old adage, shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you end up in the stars.
That's right.
And so why not shoot as high as possible?
That's right. That's right.
And for me, it's real. Like, it's visceral. Like, to me, it's this is kind of off subject a little bit, but just I think about the world now, and I think about the future of the world. And I see three basically governing powers arising. And one of them is government. The other one is big business. And the other one is small business. And I think that the three can find a balance. I think that with the three, with government, large business, and small business being kind of the like the governing, systems for society. I think that if you lose small businesses, I think if small businesses get swallowed up in that, then I think there's a world of devastation there. I think that small businesses need to be bolstered and supported, and business excellence democratized for them, so they have access to these things.
Sure. Yes. And it's easy to overlook the fact that all of these large businesses that are now doing so many good things in the world were small businesses at one point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so let's not forget that is the way it happens. Is someone comes up with an amazing idea and says, "I wonder if we can make a light bulb," and then the world changes,
Right.
Literally,
right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And one of the stats I found interesting with that is with small businesses. And Kyle, actually, when on the episode where you two were on, I think he talked about it too. But that 58% of employees in the United States are employed with small businesses.
Yeah.
And so when you hear that stat, you think, okay, small businesses is the majority of kind of the lion's share of business, right? But then you learn that only 39% of value driven from business comes from small businesses.
Right.
And so there's a gap there. There is a large amount of inefficiency that happens in small businesses. Right. And how then can you compete? How could there, that just makes it even harder to compete. So a lot of things to solve.
That's right. And I think that's why I resonate so much with what you're here to do, is to help those small businesses figure out how to become more efficient, how to leverage what they're doing, so that they have more opportunities to make that impact.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love it. Cool.
Great.
Yeah. So today we're going to go over a couple things. So I pushed back the launch of the 10X action plan. So I was planning on doing an alpha launch of that today. And I wisely made the decision yesterday that it was better to push it off a week. And so this is a very quick to launch product. Came up with I've been mulling over the concept. So it's not quick in that sense. I've been mulling over the concept for 6 months. But in the last month, it kind of like hit me what it'll be, and we're pushing to get it out there as quick as possible. And so one more week isn't going to kill us, I guess, even though it's a hard pill to swallow. And so the idea, here's the 10X action plan. So we talk about democratizing business excellence. The name of the company is 10X Solutions, and that's not a gimmick, right? There's 10X is a buzzword, so that was part of the reason I chose it, sure, but it's not a gimmick. The rule, the number one rule, at least one of the number one rules, is every solution has to be 10 times the value of where you'd find it somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, in essence, we're going to far surpass that with this. And so what the 10X action plan is it is a 12-page report that you can receive that will give you a pretty detailed analysis with steps to find ways to improve the profitability of your business. And it's done by through AI. So the method is you log in, you complete a series of surveys, and that's what I've been developing is the portal for that, and really making it sleek and simple so that when you log in, you have one page, you see all the surveys, you can easily navigate between them, and then you're able to request the action plan very easily. So as a business owner, one of the things I was having breakfast with a friend this morning. We're talking about the price point and the value in the price point, and we'll get to that. But the most expensive thing for a business owner is their time.
Yes.
And so with that in mind too, wanted to build something that had a very low entry level for time as well. So if you have all of the information, if you know your business well enough to where you know your numbers, and most business owners do, they can probably complete the survey in under 10 minutes. Yeah, pretty all of it in under 10 minutes. So then the idea is with 10 minutes of effort, you receive an action plan that is actionable. And we'll show that, because when you see what it is, you start to see really kind of what the value that drives behind it.
This is good stuff, Jay.
I'm excited. This is going to be big. This is going to be big.
That's good. That's good.
I just I thought I was more prepared than I am, and I thought I had it up on my side thing, and I don't. I think what I ended up doing was I ended up opening something else twice.
Gotcha.
So just get back to it.
Well, I am a firm believer that anything that we can do to support these small businesses, like they're in need of it, but often they are so head down actually doing the business that they don't have time to even raise their head and say, I need help with this. So if you're going to make this an easy lift for them, and you're going to do it in a way that is not hard for them to figure out or understand, or even just to be able to go online, like you said, and do the assessments in as little as 10 minutes, I think that that's going to serve them really well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, we got there.
Great.
Yeah, it's priced at a point where it's a no-brainer. Like it's an absolute no-brainer, and you'll see why at the end. So this is a prototype of the 10X action plan, and so again,
Jay,
keep in mind.
Second, back up a second and tell me, like, ideally, as you're thinking of this and you're getting ready to do the launch in just the next few days, who's the ideal small business client for this, or candidate for this? Is this the micro entrepreneur? Is this the person who's still in beta, or is this the person mid-size, or is it all of them?
It's all of them.
Okay.
For that, it's all of them. Yeah. This is being the first version of it. It's geared more specifically to somebody who's been around for a while. In the questions that it asks, but that I can change that, in a matter of minutes, and I'm going to as well. So it's going to have a lot more incorporated into it that drives the questions of, for instance, if it might ask that type of thing. Are you filling this out as an individual, right? Because this whole system can be geared towards individuals as well.
Good.
So let's say you are considering a career change and you need an action plan to do that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we can use the same system to generate that action plan for that. Or if you are working on a project, or whatever it is, I'll have to think it through because it needs to have actual value, and so thinking of how this would apply to individuals to provide kind of actual and maximize value is kind of one of the next things I have to figure out. But it can be applied to anybody. So even as if you are a team leader, so let's say you're within an organization, let's say you're not the business owner, but you're a team leader and you want to get some ideas on how to drive your department, improve your team, those sorts of things, then there would be some value in there as well. But for now, I'd say any business owner, whether you're a solopreneur or all the way up to medium sized,
Okay.
this is great for you. What I really want to do though is start marketing this for consultants, because I think that a consultant, somebody serving these businesses, this tool and then powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It's good on our end too, because then we would have repeat business. Because consultants usually have more than one client, so for every client, there would then effectively be multiple that they would want to use it for. Um, and to be honest, I want to disrupt the consulting industry. When people started telling me I should be a consultant, and I started looking into what that is, it it seemed like there's a lot of really good intentioned people, a lot of people who don't necessarily know what they're doing, and a lot of people selling snake oil.
Right.
And it felt like an industry ripe for disruption. And so I want to disrupt it, but I don't want to displace the people in it. And so I
Good.
would rather consultants use this tool. I would rather, if you're
Mm-hmm.
in that space, you use this tool to provide more value and to improve what you're doing. And then as you would drive more value, then you can increase your earnings while also, you know, not immediately, but while also working towards democratizing your practices
Mm-hmm.
so that you
Mm-hmm.
can scale, so that you can offer more value for better prices, as well. So instead of trying to disrupt it in a way that is going to displace, I'm trying to, yeah, that's long explanation, but it also consultants.
It's great. It's great. I like it.
Um, yeah. So this whole thing you can see is 12 pages. But it's really 7 pages, because the first page is the cover, the second page is the table of contents, and the last page it's really, I guess, 9 pages, because the last page is also just, hey, reach out. So you have these different sections. So pages 3 through 9 are really where the value is at. So the executive summary. So again, so if you're just tuning in, or if you're not familiar with this is the 10x action plan, and this is I had AI create a fake company and then have it complete all the surveys, all 4 surveys, and then without changing anything. So I've developed all the prompts behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So you take that data, and then that data then generates each of these pages, and I review it. So for customers, I would redact anything personal. So
Mm-hmm.
when it's received, it gets to me. It gets to a human being if it's not me, and then that information is redacted by us so that everything's confidential. Nothing personal goes through any AI. I think it's okay. I don't think that if you put people's information in there, that it's going to, like, all of a sudden start showing up other places. But not everybody agrees, so I'm
Sure.
playing it safe.
Great.
So all the information is redacted when we complete the surveys, and then we generate the reports. And so the executive summary, in a lot of ways, is, did we get it right? So if you read the executive summary, then you should be able to read that, and then that instill trust that the systems we've built got it right. So then that gives you that confidence to kind of keep going. So then, based on the surveys and all the training knowledge and the data, it then identifies 3 potential AI opportunities, ways to start integrating AI into your organization. But 3 is too many, if we're being honest, because we're approaching this from so many different angles, that if
Mm-hmm.
we had 3 solutions to every angle, then it would be a 27-point action plan, and nobody's going to get anything done with a 27-point action plan. So not only do we identify 3 so that you as the customer can choose one, maybe the one that we suggest is not the best one, but here's a couple more, and it gets you thinking, because maybe there's things, as a business owner, you know 100% more than we know at this point. We don't know anything about your business except what you tell us in the surveys, but these might give you some ideas that the AI haven't thought of. And so
I can see that value of that as well, because I think there are so many small businesses who are like, if I just knew what to do, I would act on it. And like you said, giving them these ideas might not be what they need to do, but it might trigger their creativity to go, oh, well, then that helps me go in this direction.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so at the end, so it gives 3, and then there's the actionable recommendation. So then there's also so out of the 3, this is the one it recommends. And then you get into the organizational alignment opportunities. So this is something that, I am very passionate about as well. So this is, that went the wrong way. I'm trying to hide my face less from my, so I'm thinking of this in terms of everybody within an organization moving in the same direction, laser focused on the same thing. Right. And that needs to happen within organizations. If that's not happening, then you have, just think about all the systems that are wasting energy, and all those systems and all that wasted energy cost money. And so you're bleeding out in a lot of different ways if the entire organization isn't focused on the same thing. Now, you're not necessarily doing the same tasks. You can't be doing the same tasks, but you should be driving in the same direction and all working together to move in the same direction. So that's why I like the idea of alignment with this. Go ahead.
And we lean so much on Working Genius, and Patrick Lencioni actually has one of his podcasts is around that alignment of your team and everybody pulling in the same direction for the right end goal, but not necessarily doing those same tasks as you said. It's good.
Yeah. And so many of these ideas come from him. So we'll have a whole page on organizational alignment, which is our rebranding of that, of reframing of that. But I do make it clear at the bottom here too. You see, is this, so the recommendation, and it actually did this. The AI wrote all this. I didn't write any of this, but it said this recommendation addresses the create clarity aspect of the organizational health as defined by Patrick Lencioni. So it lets you know kind of where this is coming from as well. And so based on their surveys, it gives some key opportunity, implementing a structured approach to strategic planning and execution. And then its recommendation is to implement a quarterly strategic planning and review process, which I love. I think if that's one of the first steps, that part of that process is the first step in achieving that alignment. And so I was very happy that it came up with that.
Yeah.
I did not tell it that. I did not say quarterly offsite.
I was just going to ask that. You didn't plant that seed, did you?
No. I just said. I mean, there was a lot more to it, but I basically said, using the principles of organizational health as defined by Patrick Lencioni, and then with some more information. Let's analyze your situation and see how those principles can also drive value for you. And then you get to the 6 types of working genius.
Great.
And, and this is, we can't have a 10X solution without it. The working genius drives productivity for teams in ways that no other really productivity tool has. And so it is a superpower in itself. So I would be remiss to take it out of here. And I can see from here that I need a little bit more tuning, because you can see here each team member typically excels in 1 or 2 of these areas. And if you know from that, everybody has 2 geniuses. So it got it mostly right. And I didn't catch that. And I did go through and make sure I read all of this, but I missed that. One of the things I loved about this, though, was its approach to it. It said for Greenleaf, implementing this framework could particularly benefit their staff retention efforts and help optimize their workflow effectiveness. The company's flat structure with owner, operator, and team leads presents an ideal opportunity for leveraging that. And that makes a lot of sense. You know, if this is a 15-person organization that has a flat structure, that really is the ideal situation for the six working geniuses, because everybody works together. In some capacity, everybody works together. Right. And so understanding your geniuses and being able to have that too is, and I'll let you talk on that for a little bit too, if you good time.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, I just don't think that we can say enough about the value of the team knowing what their working geniuses are and then how they interrelate with one another, because we know that all work starts with wonder, and all work isn't completed until tenacity is done. So we want to have all six of those. We've got wonder, which is the person that just is wondering about what's going on in the environment. They're responding to what's going on in socioeconomic situations. They're wondering about government. And then the next one is invention. And this is a person who comes in and says, I have an idea for that. If you're wondering about this, here's an idea. So then you've got the next person that comes in and says, well, that's a great idea, but let's discern it and let's make sure that we vet it and know that it's actually doable for this organization. And then you've got a galvanizer who comes in and says, okay, I see that we now have a vision and we've decided on it. From that vision, let's actually get the whole team now on board with the vision. And that might mean we stop doing some things that we've been doing in the past because now we're leaning into this, or it might mean that we're leaning more into this and we're leveraging what we've been doing in the past. And then the enablement person comes and says, got it. I will take your vision and I will go do the blocking and tackling and making sure that we can overcome all the obstacles in our way and we can actually get ourselves ready for this. And then work doesn't get done until tenacity comes in and says, all right, we're actually going to cross the finish line with this. We're going to cross all the I's and dot all the T's, and we will deliver this to the customer or whatever that piece is that allows you to know that your work's done. So, it's a great thinking there.
Yeah, and we could talk about that forever.
Yes.
And thank you. That was such a good explanation.
Oh,
and I think about like practically, right? Because we think about, there's all these different tools and assessments. And, one of the reasons, chase this rabbit trail in my brain for a second, one of the reasons why I feel like a lot of the consultants or that line of work feels like snake oil is seeing like how much people charge for webinars. Sometimes a lot of them are free because they have products behind them, but what people will even charge or what people will pay for webinars, right? Like, or workshop. Right. Like, so if I come in and do a workshop with you, that as an organization, that might cost you $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. Right. A lot of times those workshops aren't effective. Now, I'm not talking about six working genius workshops. I know enough about those to know that that's not snake oil. I'm all in on those. But you see the practice.
Neither is journey mentoring, by the way.
Right. Yeah, exactly. No, most, I think a lot of aren't, but I see this trend in the industry where people are willing to pay thousands of dollars for something that doesn't necessarily drive results. And people are willing to charge thousands of dollars for something that I feel like they know probably isn't going to drive results.
And my desire is to save our small businesses from making those investments when it's not going to move the needle on what they're trying to accomplish.
Right. Yeah, and what you're doing is the opposite of what I'm talking about, right? Journey mentoring is the opposite, because that's mentoring, that's relationship, that's coaching, that's check-ins, that's ensuring that action is happening and that results are occurring. Where a lot of what it is, it's like just like kind of a one shot and done. I show up, I do my workshop, I entertain for a couple hours, and you feel very inspired and very good. And you feel like, that you learned a lot and lots going to change and get stuff done. But because now that relationship's severed, you go back to work, and after a 4-hour session, it's only going to take a day or two for that to be gone and things are back to normal. Right. And things are back to where they were. So what's the value there? There is none. Unless you need to be motivated for a day,
Yes,
like,
that's right.
So that's a lot of this behind that.
Yeah.
And you think about, the question, what's the value? And the six working geniuses, here's a couple of very practical, real ways there's value for that. For one, I remember it was just over a year ago. The company I was working with, kind of a small to medium sized at the time, around 200 employees, and decent amount of revenue. And we were the victim of a cyber attack, and all of our it was devastating, absolutely devastating. And without getting too far into it, realized that if we did not get payroll done without QuickBooks, without payroll records, without knowing how much people made, if we didn't get it done, we're going to lose the company in a week or two. People don't stick around when you stop giving them paychecks. There's a lot of grace usually the first week, a lot less grace the second week, but then by the third week, you tend to have a snowball effect that a lot of companies do not recover from. Sure. So it was a save the company situation.
Wow.
I am wonder and invention. And at the time I was the highest kind of ranking person that was there. It was in the middle of summer, so everybody was on vacation. And so it's me. And so I get on my phone, and the internet's down because with cyber attack, all of our systems are down. I get on my phone, I start making a spreadsheet. I hop on Google Sheets, I start making a spreadsheet and start coming up with a plan. And I'm just kind of navigating, doing all these different things. Long story short, by the next day, we had a plan, and we were off and running. The ideation was done, and it was solid, and it was great.
Wow.
Without the tenacity person, it would have been terrible. So this other person, she didn't take 6 Working Geniuses, but I know from working with her that she was high on tenacity. And so, and we didn't use the 6 Working Genius language, but if we had recognized it, it would have been a very perfect example of like how these geniuses work together to accomplish something that was seemingly impossible.
Yeah.
And what we were able to do was improvise payroll for 200 people over 5 different locations, writing paper checks.
Wow.
And not one complaint, not one mistake, not one complaint. Yeah.
Wow.
And I think that's the power of the genius. I think that's the power of the 6 Working Geniuses. I think if you know that going into it, you can craft your team to accomplish results. And
exactly. And yeah, that's right. That's right. And that's another piece that I love about this model is it doesn't just teach you how to navigate where your team is and talk through all the pieces of how your team works. There's also a piece that helps you leverage who do you need next on the team so that you make sure this next person, they definitely need to have discernment, or this next person definitely has to have galvanizing. So, so good.
Yeah. And we've had fun with it because I've built a couple GPTs that kind of help in a lot of ways too. So you can get down to like the task level and start seeing what geniuses are associated with what tasks. And then you're able to start reframing work around that, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Imagine being able to take a team and, it's something similar you could do with AI, but you run all of their job descriptions and task lists through the AI, through the GPT, and it'll tell you which tasks are associated with what geniuses, and you could start moving things around and start giving tasks to different people and start taking away tasks that are frustrations for people so they don't get burnt out. And then it doesn't take long then for not only are you becoming more effective and more efficient in the processes you were already doing, but now you have higher energy, you have better camaraderie, better work culture. So now you're more innovative, you're more driven, you're creatively finding solutions as opposed to passively creating problems. Or sometimes people actively create problems when they get disengaged at work. So it solves it from all the way down, immediate value to long-term cultural impact.
That's right. That's right. And if you can do anything to lessen the headache for a small business owner, like let's do that too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So a little bit of a primer on the 6 Working Geniuses.
I love it.
So growth strategies, and I'm gonna start just calling it strategic stamina, but I don't think anybody would know what I meant when I said that. So now
I love that. That's great. Strategic stamina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and really, because it's, it's a measurement of how long is this company going to be around,
Mhm.
right? What's the endurance,
Mhm.
resiliency of the organization? And it's really built on, if you kind of start very zoomed in, a lot of it has to do with current cash positions,
Mhm.
right? So an organization with very low cash reserves is going to be is going to need different strategies and solutions than a company with large cash reserves. A company with small cash reserves may need to go into survival mode and start finding ways to get lean and mean,
Mhm.
where companies with large cash reserves may be in a place to start innovating and developing R&D and finding blue
Mhm.
oceans, and different ways
Mhm.
to innovate and grow. So the needs, are very dependent on different things. So that's kind
Mhm.
of a zoomed in level. And then kind of the zoomed out is, the alignment around the things that you discovered in organizational alignment. So,
Mhm.
if you understand what your, without getting into um, the full thing, a big part of it is how will we succeed, right? It's answering the question of what does winning look like in the next year, and so you're able to really kind of get a high macro level where you're able to look at it from a lot of different angles and strategize for the future. Creating vision really is what that is. But all of that, so that's kind of the brackets around what strategic stamina is,
Mhm.
and so built on the theory of constraints. So the prompts I've engineered and put together has good working information from that, plus is pulling from that information from its training data as well, and then being able to try and identify what is potentially the large constraint within your organization. And I again I was kind of floored at their response because I thought it was absolutely genius.
Mhm.
And I would not have thought about it if you had hired me to be a consultant. I wouldn't have found this on my
Wow.
own. So so there's the power of that, and it's true because
Mhm.
there is a difficulty of seasonality that comes with
Yes.
catering that
Yes.
this company is, and so that's the
Mhm.
constraint it identified. Let's This is probably the biggest thing that is inhibiting your ability to grow, or even potentially sustain, and so it gives that. I just thought that answer was absolutely brilliant. So now we get to really the 10x action plan, and if you again, to make it simple, and I might find a way to like call this out or make it even more accessible, because I know people, and I know that even scrolling to page 8 is too
Mhm.
much for people sometimes.
Mhm.
So how do you make it
Right.
even easier?
Right.
But this takes all of that and then summarizes it into an action plan. So a lot of it was suggestions. Here's ideas. Here's what I recommend. Here's options. Here's ideas. Here's what I recommend, and then it puts it together here for the all together as kind of a one-page action plan. So it pulls the first one. So there was this recommendation from the AI opportunities section,
Mhm.
so the inventory
Mhm.
management, and then there was its recommendation for
Yeah.
the quarterly strategic planning and review
Mhm.
process, and then the targeted off-season marketing strategy. So at the
Mhm.
very end, you only have three ideas to work with,
Good.
and that's key
Yeah.
because most companies, you know, strategic growth and strategic thinking is like any muscle. You can't
Mhm.
expect a company who hasn't been exercising it to come in and
Mhm.
take on three initiatives at one time,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? So effectively, we've given them like five or six throughout this, and now we've whittled it
Mhm.
down to three. And I would
Mhm.
encourage customers to start with one. Um, Depending on your how fit you are, how strategically fit you are as a company,
Mhm.
but never more than three. So this page will never
Mhm.
recommend more than three, which is a little unfortunate because I think the six working geniuses should be part of every action plan.
Yes.
But it chose three, and so I have to figure out how to work that because I think that should be the prerequisite for companies to
Yes.
start working on improving their
Yes.
their organization. Um,
Mhm.
but I can't force that on them in this process.
Right.
So
Right.
figuring out how to fit that in, it's a part of everything, So it needs to be done, but it's also left off this part because it's so intertwined with everything. But that's still stuff to work on.
So it's an unspoken, right?
Yeah, exactly. On this
It's
page, it is an
implied.
unspoken.
Yes.
Yes,
It's
yes,
implied
exactly.
but unspoken.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think it needs to be spoken a little. I should add like a couple little value
Yeah.
for that too. So then
Yeah.
you get into the fun part. So if we do this, why? Right? This all so far, all of this sounds really cool, but why? Well, let's look at it. So that's what the financial impact portion does.
It's great.
And so in a lot of ways, in a lot of ways, the action plan ends here, and now this is showing you why.
Uh-huh.
And so the way I prompted this was, and I've tested these before, and they are pretty accurate. I wouldn't say they're, I would say that humans doing the math. If you hire a CFO, or if you work with a CFO, and they're probably going to come up with maybe 5 to 10% more accurate numbers than this, right? So this is accurate. It's in the ballpark. And not only that, but I said be very conservative in your estimations of the savings and the impact that these things will have. So don't assume it's just going to change the whole organization, and assume that it's done at an average level.
Okay.
That the business owner who isn't strategically fit, what level would they be able to do this at for their first time?
Good.
Right.
Good.
And so it's at that level too. So the value of this is if you get for $50, you spend 10 minutes, you get this action plan, and if you do it, then here's the financial analysis of the impact it can have.
Wow.
And without getting into all of it, it's broken up there. You can kind of look at it. And this action plan, the prototype is public. I have posted it on my LinkedIn page. If you're viewing from anywhere else, just DM me and make sure to get that to you. So at the end, and this is first year impact.
Wow.
So if these things were done at a conservative level, at an okay quality, then the first year positive impact for this organization would have been around $113,000.
Great.
Which is pretty powerful. And at first I was like, oh man, that seems low. I wanted, like that should be a little bit higher. But then I realized in this organization, their total revenue is $750,000. Right. So this is a substantial jump. This is a 15, somewhere, around 15% of an increase in revenue. Not revenue.
Of
profit.
Net profit. Yeah.
Right.
That's
EBITDA,
great.
bottom line. These are bottom line numbers. Right. So I was thinking, okay, for 15, if an organization of 15 people has an annual revenue of $750,000, the owner's probably paying herself $60,000. I mean, you get a lot of other benefits and stuff, write-offs and whatnot, right? But this would triple her income.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's all profit at that point for $50. This is the value for $50. And that's that's the action plan. So then, just because I like to be above board on everything, here's our methodology as well.
Yes.
So
I love the transparency. Yes.
I think you have to, especially with AI stuff. People get nervous about it.
Yes.
So this gives you an exact idea. So just like I said, we gathered the data, and all of that's secure. So been building an online portal, been working with APIs for databases so they communicate and it's all secure. And then so we collect it, but then we remove all of the personal identifiable information for the business, so that never gets into the AI system. So your personal business information or your personal information never gets put into the system. But just adjust the responses and the data that you provided in the surveys. And then we run it through the AI, and then we generate it, and then we review each of the responses.
That's great.
And we don't change content. So I'm not going in making edits. I'm just checking for accuracy
Yeah.
and to make sure it fits into the page. Like actually
Okay.
getting it to fit is one of the hardest
Yes.
parts, believe it or not. Um, and then I did go through and like add the bold and underline and like emphasis.
Okay.
So I added emphasis too. So all that
Okay.
was done by humans.
Okay.
And then and then putting it into the report as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I was going to be hardcore trying to automate at the beginning, but I'm following Elon Musk's algorithm and automation's last. So yeah, it's only going to get faster, easier, better for everybody. And then the end is just the next steps. You know, I do believe that this is powerful enough that people can use it without outside assistance, but I'm here to help.
Yes. 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 That's right. That's right. Wow. This is rich and deep. It's good.
I think it's powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So next week we launch the alpha, and so what that'll be is for $5. So what I'm going to do is I have a list of about 30 or 40 people that I'm going to text, email, bug, kind of the
Blow their
crap out
phones up.
of, and say, we're friends. You've asked how you could support me. Here it is.
That's right.
So,
That's right. Well, Journey Mentoring will do it.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
Good.
And that'll be exciting too, because then we can actually go through it. Maybe we can have you back and we can go through the results and do and see what that looks like live. That'd be awesome. So it'll be $5 during the alpha test, and that's largely because, at that point it's an absolute no brainer, and it's easier for me to ask everybody to say $5. There's no question about that. And then part of that though is going to be asking for feedback. So gonna if you kind of buy it at the 90% off, part of that is I need to know what you think. I need to know how I can improve it.
Good.
And start collecting the feedback on the data. So
if we those of us who are on the call or people that are in your network, if we get totally behind you and just blow this up, like, what's your capacity? Do you think you can handle us throwing a bunch of them at you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, as far as the testing, so I'm going to limit it to, I think around 50.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and that will be a couple weeks worth of work for me. So it's not even like I'm going to be making money off of it,
right?
But it'll take me a couple weeks to get through all of them at that point. And then it'll be another week or two to keep collecting data on feedback. All the while then also using that, doing iterative improvements to the system throughout that process as well. And then and the real question though is if there's only one of me, and if this generates enough interest in our services, then I am going to be hiring very quickly.
Of course you are. Yes.
And networking and stuff like that too, but finding ways to make sure that everybody gets the full value out of it. So
that's right. So one of the things that I have loved this past, it's probably been about 2.5 or 3 years that I've been part of a networking group called Choose Local and Small, y'all. It's based here in North Carolina in a small community that decided to get together as small business owners to support one another. They had just started doing this because they saw the value of it, and then COVID happened. Because they had already created the structure for that community of supporting one another, once COVID happened, they were able to just do all of the outreach and whatever was necessary to help. We can count probably 10 or 15 businesses that may not have survived COVID if this team hadn't been in place.
Wow,
and so
huge.
I would love to, it is huge.
Yeah.
It is huge. My friend Dina, was the one who helped start the group, and I would love to introduce you to her. And they're, I think, 75 strong now.
I love it.
Businesses. Yeah, it's good. And they need what you're doing. What you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this can help anybody. I mean, I set the bar high. I try to set the bar almost impossible. Because how, and realistically, how can you provide more 10 times the value of your competitors?
Yes.
If that was possible, wouldn't everybody be doing that?
Correct. Right.
Well, I think I figured it out.
Yeah. I think you did. I think you did. I think I'm
I'm
excited that
gonna.
I'm your friend.
Yeah. And here's the cool thing. I'm pricing it so low that when the competitor shows up,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's only going to democratize business excellence.
That's exactly right. That's right. And I love that that is your end goal. Your end goal and the end game is just do good for as many businesses as possible.
Yeah.
Like let's do that. Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, if we're
Good.
50 minutes in, I knew it would be a while, and I
Oh
ended up
my
taking.
goodness.
It's crazy.
Wow. It's flown by.
It was when we were at 30, I was like, okay, if I stop soon, we'll actually have a lot of time to talk about our main subject. I should know myself better. I haven't told you at the beginning. We're gonna get here.
It's been so helpful though. And I think it was necessary that you spent the time going over that, because that's going to make it even that much easier for people to realize, okay, this is what you're doing. And I think I'll have access to this later, right? Can I share this?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Like the prototype.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in LinkedIn, I put it in the comments. So on LinkedIn Live, you can find it right there in the comments. And it's going to be So I think
and even today's live stream, if this is available and shareable, then it might be a good way for people that are like, oh, I'm not really sure. The way you explained it be perfect.
Yeah, and for me, one of the things we talked about before, and if you're watching, we love you. But I honestly don't I'm not here for the viewers. That's not the motivation for me. I operate in wonder and invention, and that never stops. And it is not easy for me to activate. And honestly, I stream to activate. Yeah. In a lot of ways. And so, I love community, and I want this to be a community. That's what I would love. If the stream does well, that's why I would want this to be a place where people come hang out for an hour and share ideas too. Being active participants in chat and doing that, which I need to fix. I need to start being able to chat with LinkedIn. So I need to fix that. But yeah, that's what it's all about. I mean, we're here to serve. And this is an activation piece for me.
Yeah.
And being able to talk it through again is very helpful as well.
And the truth is, the people that you're wanting to help the most are the people that have the least extra time to be on a 1 hour podcast, right? So if the viewership is not the people that are using your tool, okay, because you want the people using the tool more than you want them sitting here. Yeah, I love that. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, and so much of the show, after we launch, we'll probably talk about it a little bit more. But the show isn't going to be about the 10X action plan, either. So it feels kind of weird. The last 2 weeks we spent so much time on it, but because I'm really excited about hardcore psychological safety.
I can tell.
I'm really excited about that. Yeah. And because I feel like I robbed you of the opportunity to talk about it, we might have to have you back on as a guest with,
I would be honored.
Next week
I would be honored. So, yes.
Yeah, and then the three of us, so we, Kyle and I, and can talk to you about it. That'd be
definitely.
But so not next week, because next week is launch.
Yes.
Unless I spend another 50 hours debugging.
Which we'll hope that's not the case. But
yeah. It should be largely bug free now.
Good. That's good. That's so good. Well, you are doing great work. I love the fact that we actually are now colleagues because of what Patrick Lencioni put together, and because of Patrick Lencioni's love for helping businesses be more effective and getting more done. You took that and have done some amazing work. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I just love seeing how you're leveraging your geniuses to bring something else that's going to be genius to our small businesses and to help, help grow it. It's good.
Yeah. And that speaks to the power of the 6 working geniuses.
Yeah,
when I went through the certification thing, I think that was the first time in my life somebody ever said, who cares about your weaknesses? Lean in your strengths.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and not that like you don't care about them, but like don't focus on trying to fix your weaknesses.
So how
Because
did that change you? How did that change you learning that
because
or hearing
my frustrations are galvanizing and tenacity. And there's, as a executive leader, there's
that?
shame when you can't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of disruption and a lot of not a lot of appreciation for wonder and invention either.
Yeah.
And so I've spent my life trying to be less in my geniuses and
Mm-hmm.
more in my frustrations,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
recognizing that my potential lies in my geniuses and leaning fully in those.
Mm-hmm.
It led us here, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we haven't launched yet. I don't know if
Right.
it's going to succeed. I think it is. I think I'm
Yeah.
onto something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I think, I think I'm on the verge of something big that would have not been possible had I been trying to be better in my, frustrations.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I don't know if I would have gotten as far as I did because I know that building this thing on the back end is working in my frustrations. I have to galvanize myself all the time, every day,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and through the tenacity part of getting it done. That
Mm-hmm.
I know, like and this goes back to the hardcore psychological safety thing. One of the components of that is strategic surges.
Yeah.
And so I decided 2 weeks ago that I would have a strategic surge and that I would not rest until this was done.
It's great.
And I would not have gotten nearly as far as I had that happen.
Yeah.
Or had I known like those were my frustrations.
Right.
I might have
Right.
tried to move forward like I normally would have, instead of saying, you
Yeah.
know what, these are my frustrations and I have to get them done.
Yeah.
I'm barreling down for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm going
Julie,
back to wonder and invention.
right. Julie, who's part of our group, she does a great job of just reminding us that once we actually know where our frustrations are, then it actually frees us up to have the language around it. And then we're not living in the guilt as much, right? We're actually living more in the letting go of the shame, like you talked about, and then leaning into, oh, this is what I'm shaped for. And now when I have to do this tenacity work or have to do work that's in my frustration, I can find a hack for myself, which says something like, okay, I've got to do this tenacity work for the next X number of hours or whatever. But I know when it's done, like you just said, I get to go back to my wonder and invention.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good. Well, we are out of time, aren't we?
We are.
Oh my goodness. This has been such a delight. Thank you for letting me be here.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's,
so good.
like, I'm going to be excited to have you back because I think I talked 90% of the time, which we kind of knew because we're going over the 10X action plan and doing all that. But, yeah, I really enjoy talking with you.
I will run Journey Mentoring through your 10X plan, and then we can talk about it.
Yeah.
You can tell me.
You will probably be the first person when the system works. Yeah. And what's funny is like when you get in to use it, you'll be like, why was this hard to build? And that's kind of the point, because I'm trying to make it as user friendly and simple as possible.
That's awesome.
There's only one page. You log in, you pay, and then so you register. So you create an account, you pay, and then you log in, and then once you're in, that's just one page. And if you know your numbers, you know your business, you could probably finish all of it in under 20 minutes.
It's great. It's great. Well, we will be waiting on bated breath for next week, and it'll be great to see Kyle back. That'll be good.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Sweet. All right.
Yeah. Wow. And then, then hopefully the week after, then we can have you back on as a guest. So you can check your calendar. So you don't have to commit right now, but we'd love to have you back. And then we can actually talk about hardcore psychological safety. Like
my goodness. I'd love that. That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah. And keep fleshing that out. So
yeah. I think I need to establish what kind of surge do I have to establish?
Strategic surge.
Yes, I think I'm doing that. Okay, great.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to get past roadblocks.
Yes.
If every day is business as usual, then there's progress being missed out on.
Mm-hmm. So
that's part of that balance piece too, right? Because you can't do that every day.
No.
But sometimes you have to sacrifice.
That's right. That's right. Wonderful. 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 Well,
Awesome.
all right.
Cool.
What else can I help you with, or what else can we do to get you where you need to be?
I think we're good. I mean, I gotta hunker down and get ready for next week.
All right. It's
Yeah.
gonna be good. It's
Absolutely.
gonna be good.
Yeah.
Yay. Great. How's the weather out your way?
Better, a little bit better. It's gonna heat back up though, but it's been upper hundreds, and then
Oof.
it's been in the upper 90s the last few days. So that feels like a break.
Yes, it's good. It's good. All right. Well, make sure you save Callie for us.
Yeah. All right. Well, you want to take us out of here?
I would love to. I would love to. Thank you for being a part of this today. It has been so great to be with you, Jay. 10X is going to be amazing. We can't wait to see what happens with all of it. And if you're not familiar with Working Genius, then come back next week. You'll hear a teeny bit about Working Genius, but you'll hear even more about all the good things that Kyle and Jay have ahead. And yeah, it's going to be great. It's a good thing.
And so real quick, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Okay. So for me, it is ddnowell@gmail.com. And we are journey mentoring. And like I said, we're growing leaders that will change their world. So thanks for that.
Awesome. Cool. Well, see you next time.
Okay. Take care.
Imagination's canvas, colors yet unseen. You paint with thoughts so vivid, a world of might have been. Challenges ignite you, spark a flame so bright. Your mind a constellation, guiding through the night. Adapting like a chameleon, ideas in constant flow. Your warmth invites collaboration, helping others grow. You're a